Opinion overload. The danger of assuming your opinion matters to everyone and that their opinion should matter to you. Let's get started by defining opinion. Webster's dictionary defines opinion as a view or judgment formed about something, not necessarily based on fact or knowledge. Are you navigating through opinion overload? Opinions are in our nature. I would guess we've been sharing them since the beginning of time, but how we share them has most likely evolved as society has evolved. In the beginning, we shared our views and our judgments with our close community, our friends, maybe on the job, at religious gatherings, and with our families. These people who were fortunate enough to hear our opinions had many of the same perspectives as us. There were shared experiences. They knew your personality. Their backgrounds were similar, and they more probably easily could relate to your opinion. As society developed, so did our ability to communicate our opinions. They were shared on a broader platform. With quicker modes of transportation, people could travel to new locations to share their views. Then came the ability to mass produce books, flyers, posters, with all the opinions you could fit on one page with bullet points included. Then came TV, radio, music, all with their own opinions. And now we have YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, podcasts, and there's probably other platforms that my kids have not yet told me about. Recently, my family dealt with a difficult situation, and the nature of this problem meant that I had to sort through the details of who and how it would affect the people around us. After the day was over, I realized that within 3 hours of this situation coming to light, I had talked to 9 people, all with their own views and judgments and suggestions on how I should handle this difficult situation. Speaking of my family, my husband and I have 4 children, and as I watch them check their feeds, pick their TV shows, and talk about what podcasts they're listening to, it amazes me how much opinion we actually ingest in one day. In light of these observations, I would like to suggest, in my humble opinion, we live in a time of opinion overload. The possibilities of hearing opinions are endless. We can hear what every generation, culture, gender, ethnicity, in any geographic location has to say about any, and actually every topic. Sounds great, right? But there's actually a hidden danger. The danger comes in opinion overload. You are constantly hearing views and judgments from people who do not have the same perspective, the same background, and the same experiences as you. Although exposure to those opinions can broaden your understanding, they can also provide an overload of comparison, confusion, and conflict within your heart and mind. Comparing what you've experienced with what someone else thinks, confusion when the views you've established do not match up with others, and conflict when you do not agree with the opinions of others. Again, these are healthy struggles when ingested in healthy doses. Learning how others view the world is part of growth and maturity, but an overload of opinion can wear on your mental health. Limiting your ingestion of others' opinions can help balance this struggle. Take a break from social media throughout the week. Limit the amount of reality TV you watch. Maybe only listen to 1 podcast a day instead of 5. Or how about get out in nature where not a lot of opinions are being shared? You can also be determined to raise your consumption of facts and history to counterbalance the opinion overload. These methods of counterbalance can help you determine which opinions matter to you. we must understand that there are many views and judgments about our environment, and we're not designed to shoulder the weight of all of them. Limiting your exposure and counterbalancing with facts can help you determine which opinions call you personally to action. The danger is believing that every opinion matters to you. And really, what opinion should matter to you the most? It's yours. If you're not careful about your head and your heart space, they will get full of opinions that you do not own. It can be hard to determine our tastes, develop our self-truths, study issues, and cement our foundations when we're filling up on everyone else's views and judgments. Yes, I like Vans, but really I prefer Birkenstocks. And yes, I know everyone should wear a mask, but I need time to study the health consequences before I decide. And yes, I know we should care about global warming, but I don't know if I want to give up my favorite restaurant that serves drinks in styrofoam cups. And yes, I know that your moral code comes from what you heard on Sunday morning, but I'd like to get mine from the Bible. These are just some examples of views or judgments that I'm still processing at 41 years old. Some I realize are more in depth than others. So if not every opinion should matter, we must look at the flip side. Does your opinion matter to others? I asked one of my older kids, do you think you are overloaded with opinions? And he shared a rant that I now have the details to share with you. There is danger in believing your opinion is as important to you as it is to others. Your views are important to you because of your experiences that others have not had and backgrounds that they don't share with you. Your passion for given topics will not hit everyone with the same passion, and it would be boring if it did. Variety, they say, is the spice of life, and that should probably also apply to viewpoints and judgments. I know you want everyone to feel the same way as you do, but if they did, all debate, all thought would go out the door. We could just ask one person what their opinion was, and then all agree to think and feel the same way. No, thank you. My son also let me know during this rant that those reading your opinion overload get frustrated when you share the same opinion over and over and over again. Yes, you may reword it, or you might find a quote that shares your viewpoint, but those in your circle hear the same thing, no matter how you word your opinion. They tend to predict what you're going to say, and so really there's no need to check in with you. And worse, they start to discount or ignore your opinion altogether. So what do you do when you really need to let people know what you think? My first idea is be slow to speak your opinion. This not only protects others from opinion overload, but it protects you from thinking everyone cares about your opinion. Ouch. I know, this is some harsh truth, but if you'll allow me just some brutal honesty right now, they don't care as much about your opinion as you do. And when you experience this in real life, face to face, it can be a hard feeling of rejection. My next suggestion is to share your story. Sharing your story with your opinion is much more powerful than just sharing your opinion itself. If you want to be effective in sharing your views with others, then let them know why you feel the way you do. Pull them into your background, your experience, or your thought process. Although you may not sway them, at least they know more about you. And if you're a good person, then maybe they'll consider your opinion as they think more about it. If you still have opinions that must be shared, please consider the way in which you share them. I tend to think caring over the cause. I have people in my life who I love very much that have terrible opinions on some very sensitive topics. I still care about them more than I care about the cause I'm trying to sway them on. My hope is that I can lead by example and sway them with my actions as well as my words. The truth is, people care in your circle more about you than they care about the opinions you're trying to share. Let me give you an example of this. Last week on my social media, I posted about some vintage hot pads that I started collecting when I inherited 2 from my grandmother. On that post were colorful pictures, and then at the end, I asked people, what do you collect? On that social media post, I had 58 likes or loves and 23 comments. Now, the very next day, I posted a video on systematic racism, and I had 7 likes and 1 comment. People will engage if it's part of your story. So share your story, and maybe be slow to speak all of your opinions. At the end of the day, your opinion matters because it's important to you. So take the time to form your opinions and maybe not share them on overload. Thank you for listening to my opinion on opinion overload. I hope it helps.